History cannot change easily, but human hearts can. Believe your own eyes, only that which you see is true. What is unseen is but an illusion. These were the parting words a mysterious voice left us with at the end of the new Interlude Archon quest Inversion of Genesis. The identity of this voice is unknown, but what we do know is that this is someone who is not affected by the Irminsul. And considering that they were able to communicate with us in the manner in which they did, hints at their divine origin. While Teyvat is full of divine beings and also of beings who are able to bend the rules of the world, what they said to us makes it seem like they were well acquainted with the nature of Irminsul, as if they have already seen this happen in the past. A divine being that has seen this world change, but more importantly, seen the after effects of that change over time. Who could know of time, fate, events that have gone by, and the nature of Irminsul better than the god of time herself, Istaroth? Now, I know it sounds like this video is about why the voice is Istaroth, but no, that is not what this is. I would try to prove it, but the voice simply said a few things and left. There isn't enough proof. But I assure you, I have a very good reason for bringing up Istaroth. In this video, we will be discussing Istaroth, Irminsul, the new artifact set called Flower of Paradise Lost, Celestial Nails, Seelies and Descenders, and the Primordial One and its shades. Also, this video will contain its fair share of speculation, so please keep an open mind and let's begin on this journey through time. The god of time is known by many names. The god of moments, ruler of time, Tokoyo Kami, Kairos, and the undying wind, among others. Istaroth appears across several texts in the nations that we've visited until now. During the early days of Mondstadt, she was worshipped alongside the Anemo Archon Barbados. The Thousand Winds Temple is said to be a place of worship for both of them. It is said that Anemo brings stories and time nurtures them. In Inazuma, A believes that Makoto was able to execute the planting of the sacred sakura tree because of a higher power, and the voice sign had a tiny Istaroth written on top of it. It is to be noted that her name itself is rarely used to address her. Whether this is because of the plethora of titles this god is known by, or her name should not be spoken, is hard to tell. While these are notable mentions, she has existed for far longer than these nations that worshipped her. In Enkanomiya, we learned the ancient history of Teyvat and the Primordial One and its 4 shades. One of these shades was Istaroth. Called the ruler of time, she was the only one that had not forsaken the people of Enkanomiya, even when the Primordial One seemed to have forgotten them. Though they feel grateful to her, they didn't dare to write her name in the book before Sun and Moon, spelling her true name in reverse. But Istaroth seems to slowly fade away from every civilization she was worshipped in. When Orobashi arrived in Enkanomiya, she was eventually forgotten, completely disappearing from worship by the time they moved to Watatsumi Island. In Mondstadt, her eventual disappearance can be attributed to the Lawrence clan destroying historical records and relics. Other than this, a great part of the Mondstadt library was destroyed during the Great Fire of Fall Equinox. While it seems like over time, history has paved a path for a world without Istaroth, she has always appeared when people needed her. The people of Enkanomiya named her Kairos, which means opportune moment, for she appeared to them at the right time when they needed her most. But what of the state of time in Teyvat? In the 3.3 Interlude quest, we were able to understand that you can only change the memories of the people of Teyvat. That which is fated to happen will happen, and even removing oneself from said events, like the Wanderer did, will not change fate. As the voice explains, if a small animal runs into a tree trunk, though the tree may sway, it is not displaced. The same is true of fate. The Wanderer wished to erase himself from Irminsul, perhaps in an attempt to change the past. Even though he was successful in erasing parts of himself, he still existed in Teyvat, but without his memories. Irminsul helped him do this, but I would like to bring to your notice the aspect of time here. We do know that Irminsul is the record of everything that occurs in Teyvat. As we saw in the quest, we were able to see the events that took place between Dottore and Niwa. It is uncertain whose memories we are looking at because the scene takes place from both Niwa and Dottore's perspective. We can see both of them, and even after Niwa dies, we can still see Dottore talk about how this was the jester's plan. We are not present in that moment, but we can see it. If Scaramouche hadn't seen that moment, his view on the betrayals he faced would not have changed. So while we did not travel back in time in an interactive manner, it did lead to Scaramouche changing what had happened in some way. So while the Irminsul cannot change the course of time and events in Teyvat, it is a window to all the moments in the past. The ley lines which are connected to Irminsul and link the entire world of Teyvat together are said to remember all things that happened in this world, from the surface down to the deepest depths. The domains that we spend hours on for artifacts and talent materials are built on ley lines, and they too are a moment frozen in time. The artifacts we receive from these domains also have people's pasts and their memories. Speaking of people's pasts and artifacts, the artifact set that was released had some new information, the implications of which go as far as the origin of Teyvat. In the Flower of Paradise Lost, we find out that the goddess of flowers was cast aside by the heavens. Her magnificent vessel left a savage husk, and her kin was stripped of their minds, which is literally what happened to the Seelie race. We also find out that this banishment from the heavens was a result of invaders descending to Teyvat and waging war. The legends of the Seelie race say that they were reduced to the forms of present day because their ancestor met a traveler from afar and married him, which angered the heavens, and they punished the entire race by wiping their memories. This resulted in the Seelies being devoid of the knowledge and wisdom that they possessed, causing them to wither away. When the goddess of flowers describes what happened to her kin, she says that they suffered the torment of exile, stripped of their connection to the heavens and to their powers of enlightenment. Further, turns out that she was the one that led the Scarlet King to forbidden knowledge. She tells him that she would deliver him to higher knowledge, and as it is described in the artifact, she guided her dearest friend to the path of all there was to know about the skies and the abyss. It is said that the goddess of flowers was never seen again. Perhaps helping the Scarlet King find the ultimate knowledge was far too great for her withering body to take. It is to be noted that she also warns the Scarlet King about the heavens and what they would do to his people once they found out. She tells him not to seek the master of the four shades and not to inquire the mysteries of the skies and the abyss. For as shown by the nail of retribution, calamity shall follow. Which did happen. There's definitely a celestial nail in the unreleased part of the desert. Firstly, this contests what we believe about the heavenly principles. Perhaps the primordial one did win against the second who came. And it is honestly not new to us that Celestia likes to go after civilizations that try to know too much. But I believe there's another reason for Celestia taking these drastic steps. The goddess of flowers says that after the invaders descended from beyond the firmament, they brought destruction and plague, but also brought illusions that could break through shackles of the lands. And so the master of the heavens sent down divine nails to mend the land, laying waste to the mortal realm. One might say Celestia was trying to prevent abyssal energy creeping into the surface, which would corrupt the land and cause disease and death. But is the desperation to prevent that reason enough to drop a nail that kills everyone that you're trying to protect? I have a theory for why Celestia is doing this, but before that I have to bring up Irminsul. Now, the concept of a world tree that stretches across the realms of the world is a common concept in mythology, and Irminsul is often connected to the tree in Norse mythology. But there is another world tree that Genshin might have taken inspiration from. In Hindu and Jain mythology, there is the concept of Kalpavriksha, which means the tree of life or the world tree. This tree was also said to be our galaxy or the birthplace of the stars. These trees had wish-granting abilities. In fact, the gods eventually took the tree to the heavens to avoid people misusing it by wishing evil things. It is said that while the gods benefited from the divine flowers and fruits of this tree, the ones that lived near the trunk and roots lived in penury. The reason I bring this up is because before Scaramouche erased himself from Irminsul, he told us something very interesting. He told us that our twin only came to this world because the heavens responded to the summoning. Now, firstly, there is no way that the heavens here are Celestia, because we know what they do when someone from beyond this world comes to Teyvat. So, someone in Khaenri'ah wished for this to happen, and how would they do that exactly? Did they happen to have an Irminsul tree that could grant wishes? Before we answer that, let's talk about the places Celestia has dropped nails on. In Salvin Dagnir, there was an Irminsul tree. The princess born under this tree was gifted with the power to see the future. She had several visions, one of which was of a black dragon filling the land with a cloud of scarlet poison, which was probably Durin. It is said that briefly after she saw this, the celestial nail was dropped. But was the fact that she saw this future enough for Celestia to feel threatened? If you look at the lore of the tiara artifacts from the Prayers of Destiny set, each tiara tells a story that begins with a time when envoys from heavens freely moved the earth and people could hear revelations from heaven directly. But all these stories end with people questioning. They either questioned when the fruitful times they lived in would end, or would they always have the riches they were blessed with? And some even questioned the authority of the heavens. These stories always ended with the priests that wore the tiaras made of white branches delving into the depths of the world to find answers. The Tiara of Frost says, "The line of chief priests has always seen the same sight as their days draw to an end. A mountain of crowns in a secret place beneath a withered tree, each one hiding a lifetime of secrets kept. Each retiring chief priest offers up their crown of flawless white branches to this world. Every mighty and ancient city and every austere place of sacrifice must once return to profundity in the earth." These branches that are spoken of are from Irminsul. Every place that has a celestial nail has an Irminsul branch. There is one in Dragonspine and the Chasm, and even though we do not see a nail in Surumi Island, there is a branch there as well, withered. Celestia isn't dropping these nails to prevent forbidden knowledge or even the abyss. They are targeting the Irminsul trees that existed there. We know that the Irminsul trees that exist now are a record of the past in Teyvat. But what if the trees that Celestia targeted are the ones that fulfill wishes? The reason I think this is true is because ley lines and domains exist, which are all connected to the Irminsul tree that exists now, but Celestia has done nothing to destroy them. When I first saw Ruktevta being erased through Irminsul, I believed Celestia must have used the power of this tree as well. But I realize now, if they could just erase the memories of people, why would they destroy civilizations? If there is knowledge in this world that one must not know, a tree that erases memories should be the best solution, but it is not. Also, the Irminsul trees that exist now are connected to the abyss. The stories of the tiara and what happened to the Scarlet King was connected to them going to the depth of the world and finding knowledge, which eventually led to their downfall. But why does Celestia wish to hide this knowledge? I think Celestia used the power of the abyss to win wars that they won. Even the Sustainer uses cubes that has colors that does not look like elemental energy. But what would be the source of this abyssal energy? It would have to be Irminsul trees. The Irminsul trees and ley lines are said to be connected to the abyss. While forbidden knowledge corrupted the Irminsul in Sumeru, the frost-bearing tree and dragon spine that was revived through Durin's blood is not corrupted. And the Irminsul's connection to the abyss still holds true. What if the gods are trying to prevent humanity from gaining that knowledge and becoming closer in power to the heavens? Perhaps did an Irminsul that could grant wishes exist in Khaenri'ah, and did the summoning of the twins through this divine tree happen, or did they learn of the abyssal power and try to wage war against the gods? But how is the god of time connected to this? The parable of the tree in Before Sun and Moon tells us the story of a gardener who was in love with the tree spirit. But the king, who was the reincarnation of the primordial one, wishes to use the power of the tree to repair the beams of his pavilion, a reference perhaps to the firmament that the goddess of flowers spoke of. The gardener doesn't want to lose the tree spirit and asks the king's priest to help. The priest was said to be the reincarnation of Istaroth, or as written in the story, Tokoyo Okami. She tells him to plant a branch and that the tree will eventually grow in 500 years and it would be a continuation of that old tree. It is then said that the god of moments is able to take seeds from this moment in the past and future. We see this happen with the sacred Sakura tree as well. When Makoto prayed to a higher power for her people, Istaroth helped her by bending the rules of time. What if the seeds of these many Irminsul trees that have existed across civilizations have been planted by Istaroth to preserve lost memories, to preserve lost time? And those were my thoughts on the god of time, celestial nails, and the goddess of flowers. Thank you for watching the video until the very end. Let me know your own thoughts on these topics. Who do you think pulled a 5-star in Khaenri'ah? The comment section is open for your theories. Since we also find out that the Jester and the Abyss sibling did interact in Khaenri'ah, that will be the topic for my next video. That's it for now, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.